around the world in diplomacy also. Mr. Speaker, this time I'd like to yield 3 minutes to the gentleman from Friendswood, Texas, my dear colleague, Mr. Weber.
Is recognized for 3 minutes.
I'm sorry.
I thank the gentleman and thank the Speaker. Folks, the world is an inherently dangerous place. Watch the news. Think with me for a minute. When the world has a catastrophe, and it doesn't matter whether it's a tsunami, an earthquake, whether it's fire, pestilence, whether it's war, when the world has a catastrophe and dials 911, who is it that answers? It's America, isn't it? With our military. It's America that answers that 911 call. Now, how do we do that? It's because this country has the strongest, most stable, most reliable, affordable energy capacity and capability in the world. America is able to produce goods. I often say the things that make America great are the things that America makes. And our fossil fuel energy supply is what underwrites that. You don't think that's right? Try, and I would argue that not only is it America's security, when America is strong, the world is strong. If you don't think fossil fuel energy is important, try powering a tank or a jet plane with a solar panel, Mr. Speaker. You won't get very far. We must remain strong. As I said, for the world to be safe, America's got to be strong. This rule and this bill, H.R. 351, is important not only to America's economy, but also our national security, and I would argue by extension of the world depending on us, international security. Yes, we have a stable, long-lasting, reliable source of energy here in America. We have the opportunity to export that to our friends around the globe and help them to be safe, help them to be productive. We will produce American jobs in the process. We will improve our balance of trade, as my friend from Corpus Christi said earlier. LNG is helping not only with the economy, Mr. Speaker, but with national and, by extension, international security. I have 3 plants in my district. They need the permitting process needs to be expedited and moving forward. That's why I rise today in support of the rule and support of H.R. 351. 2 LNG facilities in my district and 1 more on the books. They mean jobs. They mean security. I urge my colleagues to support this rule, to support this bill, put Americans to work, help America continue to be a leader, to be safe, and indeed help keep this world safe. I thank the gentleman, the chairman of the Rules Committee. Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to have the gentleman stick around for a minute because as a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, he is most genuinely involved in trying to make sure that discussions about America and our allies and how the world sees us are well understood. And as a man that comes from not only Friendswood, Texas, which, like Mr. Farenthold is right, in the center of this enterprise where we ship our natural resources around the world, I'd really like to give the gentleman 2 minutes to talk about the impact of foreign affairs. The gentleman, Mr. Hastings, had asked a question about, well, why does this matter?
And I thank you, Mr.
The gentleman is recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you. Great questions. I didn't talk about the fact that I have 5 ports in my district on the Gulf Coast of Texas, more than any other member of Congress. Some have 4. I have 5. LNG plants, LPG plants. 60% of the nation's jet fuel is produced in my district. 60% of the nation's jet fuel. An extremely large amount, a classified amount of the military's fuel. They won't tell us how much, but a large amount of the military's fuel. Strategic petroleum reserves abound in my district. Again, we can't find out how much, but it is a huge amount. From a foreign affairs initiative, and I've been over to Japan, I've been over to the Philippines, I've been to Hong Kong, South Korea, Taiwan. They want our LNG. They would much rather buy from us than from the Russian bear. Don't you know the people in Ukraine would much rather be dependent on us because we're not a dictatorship, at least not supposed to be, and we're not going to cut off their fuel because we have a disagreement with the way the Russian separatists activate or believe. So it is a foreign affairs, it is a foreign policy initiative. As I said earlier, it helps make the world safer. It helps create jobs over here. It helps with our balance of trade or imbalance of trade. It's an important issue, and it's one that bears supporting. Support the rules, support this bill, because it's not only important for America from an energy perspective, from a security perspective, but an international or world trade perspective as well as world security. For foreign policy, it matters. I thank the gentleman from Texas, and I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I thank the gentleman from Friendswood, Texas, who, Mr. Speaker, has a keen understanding about not only what's in America's best interest by serving on the Foreign Affairs Committee, but also a proud man who understands that people who work hard have jobs, clean natural gas, an opportunity for America to get the benefits of one of God's greatest gifts to the United States that we can share with others.